When my mother-in-law attempted to turn my daughter against me with deceit and obsessive behavior, I unleashed my fury and ensured she faced the consequences. A year later, she came crawling back, pleading to re-enter our lives, but I was done with her games. The moment my precious daughter, Amara, was born, I felt an overwhelming fear of my husband, not because he was cruel, but because I saw how fiercely he'd protect her. "Don't go near Amara," he told a nurse who appeared slightly disheveled. His voice wasn't harsh, just firm and protective. The early months of Amara's life were challenging, but my husband, unlike the horror stories I'd read online, made everything more bearable. He prepared every dish I craved, exactly to my taste. When postpartum despair clouded my mind, leaving me unable to see any light, he stayed calm. He never pressured me to smile, simply held my hand and kissed my brow until the darkness lifted. For those unaware, babies typically smile around 6 weeks, but Amara, surrounded by the warmth of our home, beamed at just 4 weeks. Her happiness radiated through our house, tangible like a warm glow. Until Amara turned 4, my husband and I meticulously screened everyone who entered our home or interacted with her, family included. On her 4th birthday, we decided to let her socialize more freely, as school was approaching, and we thought it would prepare her for new experiences. We invited my sister, her husband, my mother-in-law, and their children, about 15 people in total. Amara was showered with gifts all day. 5 hours into the celebration, my back began to throb. Not wanting to dampen the mood, I pressed my hands to my lower back and shuffled to a nearby chair. My husband noticed immediately and insisted I rest in bed. We'd only be gone a few minutes, and with Amara surrounded by what we believed was trusted family, we thought she'd be safe. We were wrong. A sound no parent should ever hear pierced the air, our daughter crying for help. My husband's fists tightened, and he bolted downstairs to investigate. His voice, usually calm, carried a barely contained fury I rarely heard. Later, I learned he'd discovered marks on Amara's wrists. "Who did this?" he demanded, his tone icy. The house fell so quiet it felt like the walls held their breath. "Daddy, don't be upset. She didn't mean it," Amara said, her innocent voice breaking my heart. "Sweetheart, tell me who so I can protect you," he urged. After a long pause, Amara must have pointed at my mother-in-law, because my husband told her to come upstairs to me before ordering everyone else out. "She spilled juice on my blouse," my mother-in-law shrieked, as if that justified her actions. "Be thankful you're a woman, or I'd make you regret this," my husband shot back, his voice low and menacing. Silence enveloped the house. Amara looked at me with wide, frightened eyes. I reassured her that she was safe, that none of this was her fault, and that adults must always protect children, facing consequences if they fail. She nodded and clung to me tightly. My mother-in-law had introduced her to the world's cruelty, and in that moment, I knew forgiveness was impossible. My husband clearly felt the same. "You'll never come near this house or Amara again." "Get out," he roared, leaving no room for argument. The front door slammed shut and he rushed upstairs. We cuddled together, comforting Amara as a family. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. The next day, Amara returned from school with tear-streaked, puffy cheeks. I called my husband, and we prepared to face whatever troubled her together. "I hate you," she screamed, pointing at him. Stunned, we asked what was wrong. "You hurt Mommy, you're awful," she cried, grabbing my hand and trying to pull me out the door. I knelt to her level, held her hands, and guided her through the breathing exercises we'd practiced. Once calm, she revealed the truth. My other mama said Daddy was with another lady. Other mama was her term for my mother-in-law, who had convinced Amara my husband was unfaithful. His face paled, then flushed with rage. I'd never seen him so furious. He grabbed his phone and paced the living room. I took Amara to the kitchen for cookies and milk to distract her while he made a call, his voice trembling with anger. I tried to keep Amara occupied, asking about her school day, but her worried eyes kept darting toward the living room. My husband joined us, his face red but composed for Amara's sake. He explained gently that other mama's words were untrue, that he loved me deeply and would never betray us. Amara looked confused, glancing between us. "But she showed me pictures on her phone," she said, her lip quivering. My heart sank. Pictures? What could she have shown her? My husband was as baffled as I was. We called the school the next morning and learned my mother-in-law had appeared during recess, claiming she was taking Amara to a doctor's appointment. The school couldn't reach us, her doing, as she'd provided fake contact numbers. Fortunately, the principal recalled our strict pickup rules and refused to release Amara. Instead, my mother-in-law spoke to her through the playground fence, showing her photos and planting lies. Security eventually intervened, but the harm was done. I was livid. We updated the school's security measures, providing photos of my mother-in-law and banning her from contact. That night, my husband showed me what he'd uncovered. He'd sifted through old family photos and found one from his cousin's wedding 3 years prior, where he'd given the bride a friendly peck on the cheek. Cropped deceitfully, it could look incriminating. My mother-in-law had manipulated the image to mislead Amara. The following weeks grew increasingly tense. Unknown numbers called and hung up. Packages arrived, first, chocolates with a card reading, "Sorry for your pain," addressed to me, then a stuffed animal for Amara with a note. "When Daddy leaves, we'll still have each other." I discarded them before Amara could see. My husband installed security cameras, and we lived on edge, startled by every sound. One afternoon, while picking up Amara from school, I spotted my mother-in-law's car in the lot. I grabbed Amara and rushed to our vehicle, glancing back constantly. Driving home, I noticed her tailing us. I took random turns, even looping through a drive-through to confirm. When she persisted, I called my husband in a panic and drove to his workplace. He was waiting outside, and we watched her car creep past without stopping. That evening, we explained to Amara, in simple terms, that other mama was lying and shouldn't speak to her. She was confused and upset, asking why her grandmother would deceive her. It shattered me that our 4-year-old faced such betrayal. The next Monday, Amara's teacher called. My mother-in-law had sent cupcakes to the class, claiming they were from us. The teacher, aware of our concerns, contacted us first. I told her to dispose of them, fearing what they might contain. We decided to pursue a restraining order. While awaiting our court date, things worsened. My sister called, saying my mother-in-law was spreading lies within the family, claiming my husband was abusive and she was trying to save Amara and me. Some relatives believed her, flooding my inbox with worried messages. I posted a thorough explanation online, including evidence of her notes and gifts. Most family supported us, though a few sided with her. The night before our court hearing, we heard glass shatter downstairs. My husband grabbed the baseball bat we kept by the bed and told me to call 911 while he investigated. I locked myself and Amara in the bathroom until police arrived. They found a broken living room window and a brick with a note. "He'll harm you both. I'm trying to save you." The police took the brick as evidence and filed a report. At the hearing, I was a nervous wreck, constantly checking my surroundings. My husband gripped my hand as we entered the courthouse. Amara stayed with my sister, who was appalled by the birthday incident. The judge granted a temporary restraining order, barring my mother-in-law from coming within 500 feet of us or contacting Amara's school. I felt slight relief, but knew it was temporary. Back home, we found a social worker's card in our door. Rachel, the social worker, requested a welfare check for Amara. I called and explained everything for nearly an hour. She was kind but required an official visit, which we scheduled for the next day. I barely slept, fearing my mother-in-law's next move. Rachel arrived, professional yet warm, and spoke with Amara privately for 15 minutes. Afterward, she assured me Amara was safe and well cared for, noting that false reports could have serious consequences. Just when I thought things might settle, I received a text from an unknown number. A photo of Amara and me at the park from the day before, with the message, "I'm always watching. I'll save her from him." We reported it to the police, who suggested blocking the number and documenting everything. The next day, Amara's school called. A woman claiming to be her aunt had tried to pick her up. When refused, she caused a scene, shouting that we were abusive. Security escorted her out. The principal showed me footage of my mother-in-law yelling at staff. The school filed a trespassing report. That night, we considered relocating to escape her harassment. The idea of moving because of my husband's mother infuriated me, but it felt like our only option. The next morning, our car was vandalized. Liars scratched into the door, one tire slashed. The responding officer was empathetic, suggesting more cameras for our driveway. Later, my sister called, distraught. My mother-in-law had caused a scene at her workplace, accusing her of supporting abuse. Anna's boss called security, leaving her humiliated. I warned other family members they might be targeted. Most were supportive, but my cousins suggested letting my mother-in-law see Amara to avoid conflict. I ended the call abruptly. The stress took its toll. Amara began having nightmares and regressing to bedwetting. My husband obsessively checked cameras, while I flinched at every sound, peering through blinds at passing cars. 2 days later, at the grocery store with Amara, I caught my mother-in-law staring from the end of an aisle. I abandoned our cart, grabbed Amara, and fled to the car, hearing her call Amara's name as we left. I drove to the police station, where Officer Lisa took my statement and promised to investigate. At home, I found flowers on our doorstep with a card. "I forgive your lies. Let's reconcile for Amara." I tossed them and checked our locks. My husband came home early, exhausted, and scheduled a security system installation. The next day, I met my friend at a cafe to vent. A woman at a nearby table stared at us. As she left, she bumped our table, spilling my coffee, and whispered, "He's fooled everyone, hasn't he?" I left, shaken. At home, we found an unmarked package, a doll resembling Amara with a ribbon around its neck and a note, "Don't let him hurt her like the others." We called the police, who collected it as evidence. That evening, my husband's boss called. Someone was contacting HR, alleging my husband's violent history. The boss warned it could cause issues. At Amara's doctor's appointment, a stranger in the waiting room asked her if she felt safe at home. I moved us and alerted the nurse, who ensured no unauthorized access. Back home, the school requested a meeting. A woman posing as a court advocate had demanded Amara's records with fake documents. Security footage showed it was a friend of my mother-in-law's, not her directly. She was now enlisting others in her vendetta. My sister reported a fake social media profile in her name spreading lies about my husband. My husband asked an IT friend to trace it. Later, I noticed a man photographing our house. I activated our security system's panic button, but he fled before police arrived. They suggested no trespassing signs to strengthen future claims. That night, as we prepared for our permanent restraining order hearing, our power went out. My husband found the line deliberately cut. Police advised staying elsewhere, so we checked into a hotel under my maiden name, calling it a fun getaway for Amara. A woman claiming to be a reporter contacted me about our case, but my husband verified she wasn't affiliated with any newspaper, just another of my mother-in-law's ruses. At the permanent restraining order hearing, we dropped Amara with a trusted friend. My mother-in-law followed us to the courthouse, but police intervened. In court, we presented our evidence while she made baseless claims about my husband's violence. The judge granted a permanent restraining order, extending it to 1,000 feet and including our workplaces and Amara's school. Outside, my mother-in-law glared at us until police reminded her of the order. That night, my husband's sister called, sobbing. My mother-in-law had trashed her apartment after she refused to help save Amara. The next morning, family members contacted us about a Justice for Amara social media group my mother-in-law created, posting doctored photos of Amara with fake bruises and lies about my husband. Most relatives saw through it, but some questioned us. Our lawyer began addressing the defamation. My friend saw my mother-in-law at a store, showing strangers Amara's photos and claiming her son was abusive. When confronted, she fled. At school, her friend Donna tried speaking to children through the playground fence about Amara. Police arrested her for trespassing, shouting, "The truth will come out." My husband's workplace received emails linking to the group, prompting HR to place him on paid leave. Then, my mother-in-law was arrested for violating the restraining order by driving past our house. At her bail hearing, she ranted incoherently, and the judge denied bail based on her behavior and our evidence. A week of calm followed, but Donna, out on bail, called to reason with me. At an ice cream shop with Amara, I confronted a man taking our photo, later seen on our cameras driving by our house. My husband's company received a legal threat from my mother-in-law's attorney, but their lawyers supported us after hearing the truth. Our friend called in a panic. Donna had tried to pick up Amara, claiming to be her aunt. He called police. We filed for sole custody with strict no-contact provisions. Police later found plans in my mother-in-law's home to rescue Amara, including maps and schedules, leading to more charges. At her trial, she appeared unhinged, ranting about saving Amara. The judge sentenced her to 3 years in prison with mandatory psychiatric care and upheld our permanent restraining order. Life slowly normalized. My husband returned to work, and Amara thrived in kindergarten, making friends. Donna moved away, and the social media group was removed. Most family accepted the truth. Prison updates revealed my mother-in-law's delusional disorder diagnosis and treatment. A year later, we moved for my husband's new job, not out of fear but for a fresh start, withholding our address from her. Amara, now 7, is flourishing and recalls little of that time. When she asks about her other mama, we explain gently that grandma is ill and can't see her. We'll share more when she's older. My husband and I are closer than ever. Enduring this either shatters you or binds you forever. For us, it was the latter.